Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, text 8 and 9. Text 8. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajjayo hyakarmanah sharira yatra pichate na prasidhyet akarmanah. So Krishna here he says, Niyatam kuru karma tvam. Tvam, you. Kuru karma, you do your activity, prescribed duty, according to niyatam, what is prescribed. What is prescribed for you? Acting as a kshatriya is prescribed for you. That is called niyatam karma. There is something called niyatam karma and aniyatam karma. Aniyatam karma means what is not prescribed. Doing things haphazardly, not according to prescription. That is called aniyatam. But Krishna is saying, you do niyatam karma, prescribed activity. And karmajjayo hi akarmanaha. Doing work, doing your occupational duty is better than renouncing work. Krishna is answering Arjuna's question. Remember the first verse? Arjuna asked, is buddhi better or karma better? Or giving up work and just speculating about Brahman, is it better? Or working for Krishna is better? Krishna again, repeatedly he said, working for Krishna is better through your prescribed duty. Again he is saying, karmajjayo hi akarmanaha. Doing your prescribed duty is better than not working. And he says, Sharira yatra pichate na prasidhyet akarmanaha. Even to maintain your body, Sharira yatra pichate, akarmanaha na prasidhyet. By not working, you will not be able to maintain your body. So that means everybody has to engage in their prescribed duties. Even for bodily maintenance. You cannot give up work. So Prabhupada, he says in the purport, there are many pseudo-meditators who misrepresent themselves as belonging to high parentage, and great professional men who falsely pose that they have sacrificed everything for the sake of advancement in spiritual life. Lord Krishna did not want Arjuna to become a pretender, but that he perform his prescribed duties as set forth for Kshatriyas. So that is because while performing our prescribed duties, our polluted material propensities have to be cleared while practicing Krishna consciousness. And then the next verse, Krishna says, Yajnartha karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanah tadardham karma kaunteya mukta sangah samachara. So Krishna says, Yajna ardhat karmanaha. So naturally the next question of Arjuna is, okay Krishna, you are saying niyatam karma, you do prescribed duty. But when we do our duty, there has to be a purpose for our duty. Everybody has a purpose. I am doing my duty so that I can earn well to give to my child. I'm doing my duty to serve the nation. Or I'm doing my duty to grow up in my career, to become a well-renowned person. There has to be a purpose. So Krishna defines the purpose. So if somebody says, what is the purpose of your duty according to Bhagavad Gita, then you should quote this verse. So Krishna says, for karmanaha, our occupational duty, the purpose is yajna. Yajna ardhat, for the purpose of yajna, we should do our duty. What is that yajna? Yagno vai Vishnuhu. That Yagna means Vishnu. It is mentioned in scriptures. Prabhupada clarifies in the purport. Yagna means Lord Vishnu. That means for the purpose of satisfying Lord Vishnu, one should do one's duty. Or Krishna. Krishna and Vishnu, the same Vishnu Tattva. Anyatra, if you don't do for this purpose, Anyatra Lokoyam Karma Bandhanaha, you'll become bound by your duty. Because if you, let's say, the purpose of your duty is to earn well for your next generation or earn well for your own happy living. See, in the course of doing our duty, we commit so many sinful activities, isn't it? Now, especially nowadays, the economy is in a precarious condition. The jobs market is in a very bad condition. The companies are going bankrupt. So that means if one company has to prosper, there is a market capacity for selling 100 items. So if one company grabs 80 or 90 items like that, what will other companies sell? That means they have to go bankrupt. And all the hundreds of thousands of employees working in that company, they have to go bankrupt. That means for your earning, for your nice sustenance, you're putting somebody in bankruptcy. While driving, we are driving the car which is creating so much of pollution. And the parts are manufactured by taking so many natural things that Krishna has provided. The metals, the wood, the rubber, and so many things. The water, air, even the fuel we cannot manufacture. So all of these things we are exploiting from Mother Nature for our sense gratification, and we are creating so many things, byproducts, pollution, bankruptcy, lack of jobs, killing poor creatures. In the course of that, we cut the forests, and for the satisfaction of tongue, we cut the throat of animals, unfortunately. So because it is for your enjoyment, you have to pay the price for it. That is called karma bandhanaha. Any activity you do with a purpose of taking the result for your own enjoyment, you become bound by that karma. That is called karma bandhanaha. So that is why Krishna says, Yajnarthat karmanaha. You perform your activity for the pleasure of Vishnu or Krishna. Otherwise, karma bandhana, very dangerous. You may think you are enjoying today, but that karma will bounce back. I was talking to one devotee on Sunday. So he spent a lot of time in India and came back because he could not get the dates for the visa interview. So finally he was working with some agent who can get the dates. And he said, these people, these agents have now become so notorious, and he lost lakhs of rupees because he believed in a few people who just took the money and kept on saying, we will get you the best date possible, but they never delivered. And they took his ID, passwords, security questions, and then they have deceived him. He lost a lot of money. So unfortunately, people nowadays especially, they don't have a conception of karma. Oh, I'm getting money through these dubious ways. What I have to reap as a result of this action? Everywhere you go, people are only concerned about how they can exploit for their own sense gratification, by hook or crook. Unfortunately, they don't know this is creating a very negative reaction, karma bandhanaha. Even if you do good activity, what to speak of bad activity? Even if you do good activity, you have to take another birth to take the result of that activity. Another birth means four problems: Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. One may say, oh, that's okay. If I get a good birth in heavenly planets, I don't care having Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. But you see, in Bhagavatam, there is description of how they are constantly at anxiety. Even the demigods, the devatas in higher planets, they are always attacked by the demons. And the description is there in Bhagavatam of these gory fights between these devatas and the demigod, the demons, danavas. Constantly is happening. So even in higher planets, one should not think they are free from all these troubles. You may do good activity and go to higher planets, but still you are not free from karma bandhana. There used to be one king, a famous king called Nruga. This king Nruga, he was into this pious activity. He thought, I'll perform a lot of good activity and reap a lot of good result and I will enjoy forever. So he was doing so much charity. He was performing so many ritualistic activities. And he amassed so much of pious credit. He thought he will eternally enjoy in heaven. But what he did, one small discrepancy. He gave some cows to one Brahmana as charity. And one cow came back from that herd into the king's herd. And this cow the king gave as charity to another Brahmana. And then this first Brahmana noticed that. And then he started to go to the second Brahmana and say, no, that is my cow. But the second Brahmana said, no, that is my cow given by the king. And they both come to the king. The king said to the first Brahmana, instead of that one cow, I'll give another set of cows that I gave you. He said, no, I won't accept. And the second Brahmana wouldn't accept. They both became so disgusted and expressed their dissatisfaction at the king. So, Brahmana, you upset, it's a great offense. And that was considered a great offense on the king's part. And at the time of his death, Yamaraja, he told him, you amassed a lot of pious credit, you will have a lot of enjoyment in heavenly planets. But you have performed one mistake also, because of which you need to be punished. So which one you want now, first? So the king said, let me get rid of the suffering and then let me enjoy eternally. So he said, first I'll take the suffering. And then he became a big lizard in a well. And he was there for hundreds of years until Krishna appeared on Vrindavan on this planet. And Krishna bailed him out. By the touch of Krishna's lotus hand, he again regained his form and then realized his mistake of relying on good karma. So, what to speak of bad karma? So, any so called good activity you do, I want to do charity, feed to the poor, build hospitals, Anada Sharanalaya, all of them come under good category, good karma. But even that is called karma bandhana. Lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Then one may say, oh, is it bad to help people who are in need, of food, who are in need of hospitals, who are anadhas? So I was hearing one devotee saying this. So there was this man in the forest who was being hunted by a tiger. And this man was running, and this tiger was running behind him. And this man was in so much anxiety. His heart was racing, and he thought he was going to die that day. And he was thinking about how this tiger will attack and kill him. And the thing is, he is actually dreaming, lying on the bed, but his friend was watching him. He's like shaking and he is making a lot of agitating motions. He's sweating profusely. And now this friend has two options. Let's say one imaginary option. Let's say he has this skill of going into the dream and run towards him and get a dream gun and shoot this dream tiger and kill it. And then this man saved this man, and then he becomes happy. Or the simplest option is just shake him up, wake him up, put some water, or even slap him, get him out of that anxiety, agitation. Naturally, we pick the second option. That is the only realistic option. That is the sensible, good option to take. So, like that, this whole material existence is like an illusory existence. We create so many situations which are very specific to our present birth. But in the previous birth, we were somebody else. Presently, we are somebody. In the next birth, we will be somebody else. It's like we are running from one dream to the other, to the other, to the other, where our soul is actually caught inside this dream like illusion. We belong to none of these illusory anxieties. The soul originally belongs to the spiritual world, part and parcel of Krishna. When somebody shakes us up and wakes us to the real spiritual self, hey, your spirit soul, because of your body, you are experiencing all these difficulties. Your original existence is part and parcel of Krishna. Then we get shaken up. Yes, that is the real help we can do. Just like a boy lost from his house, a rich father, and he is going and begging on the streets. And then you find him and you can help him with some food and clothing. But the actual help you can do is to bring him back to his real father, rich father. So, yes, while all these good karmas have their space for those people who cannot understand Krishna consciousness, they are advised to at least do this good karma so that they are not doing bad karma, so that they are giving up their hard-earned money for somebody else than them. So they are not increasing in their sinful propensities, lusty propensities. So it has its space, but from an ultimate perspective, it is still considered karma bandhana activity. That is why Krishna says, you do karma for me, Yajnarthat karmanaha, anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Tad ardham karma kaunteya, if you do karma for him, tad ardham, mukta sangaha samachara, you will attain freedom from this material existence. There was one devotee who was explaining his experience with his mother. So he's a Westerner. So he took to Krishna consciousness, and his mother was not devoted. She in fact questioned the existence of God. So she was very against his son dedicating his life for Krishna consciousness, going away from his house. But he had an elder brother who was taking care of the mother. So time to time, this devotee would send some books the mother would just place in the garage and not even look at it. And she would have arguments and so on and so forth whenever this devotee would call her. So one day, so it happened for a very long time. And so one day he called her and she answered the call. And actually, she called him and he answered the call. And she was asking him, "Can you take me to Vrindavan?" And then this devotee was shocked and pleasantly surprised. Oh, my mother is asking to take me to Vrindavan? And this devotee was having a very hectic day. Yeah, and he was excited as well that his mother was asking such things. From where to where she has come. He said, "Yes, I will take you and I'll call you tomorrow." And then, so they exchanged some simple pleasantries, and then he hung up the call and he called tomorrow. And his brother answered the call. And then, so this devotee said, "Can you give to the mother?" And she had shown some interest, and so on and so forth. And so there was long silence. The brother was silent. And then this devotee was asking, "Why are you silent?" And the brother said in a very sad voice, "Our mother passed away last night." And then this devotee was shocked and in utter dismay and overwhelmed that he could not talk to her and satisfy her by talking before she passed away. And so he was in all kinds of emotions. And then the brother started to say, so he said, how it happened? And the brother said, she was actually battling with cancer for the last several months. And she didn't want to disturb you. She didn't want that to be revealed. And then, miraculously, what I observed was, instead of becoming morose and downtrodden, she went to the garage when she knew that she didn't have much time. She started to take out all the books that you had sent her, and she started to read one after the other. And she almost read like a fanatic. She kept on underlying, reading one after the other. She was completely engrossed in that. And she ordered some tapes from your temples and she started to hear the lectures. And she became very brave in spite of her condition. And she knew that she was going to pass away very soon, that day or the previous day. And she called his brother and said, don't worry about me. I am a spirit soul. My body may die. I will not die. I am going to Krishna. And those were the last words of her. I'm going to Krishna. And then this devotee, he was broken down in tears, seeing how Srila Prabhupada had been so merciful to his mother that she was not a believer. But in the end, because this person was a devotee and Krishna decided to deliver his mother because he was a devotee. And from where she had transformed to where. So the point is that when you do Yajnartha karma, not only you but 14 generations in your family get opportunity to be liberated. Liberation means they get an opportunity to become a devotee of Krishna in their next birth if they did not become a devotee in this life, or they get the opportunity to go back to Godhead if they have already become a devotee. So what best service you can do than to liberate your family and your generations, the previous and even the next generations, 14 generations, both ways. So tadardham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samachara. So when you act for Krishna, you will become freed from bondage and mukta sangaha samachara. Prabhupada says in one of the, there was a conversation with one student. So Prabhupada was, the student was asking, see, a lot of people suffer in the world, and they suffer for several reasons: economic exploitation, racism, so on and so forth. So it seems like we might be able to do something to attack those kinds of evils and suffering in this world, other than telling them to chant Hare Krishna and the world will be solved. So Prabhupada said, if you chant, if you come to this God consciousness, those things will be automatically solved. And he gave this beautiful example. Just like you get $1,000,000, then your $50 business will automatically be solved. It's like, this, the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's compared to like the sun. When the sun is rising from darkness, in the darkness, in the night time, we are all scared because there are so many evil elements, so much of crime, thieves, rogues, so many dangers, so much evil happens in the night. But the moment the sun starts to rise, even before the sun starts to rise, the tinge of red that comes in the sky, that wakes up people and all the dangers flee away. So it's like that when you chant the holy name of the Lord, even the slightest glimpse of the offenseless chanting, it can eradicate all the sinful reactions. It can eradicate all the evils of this world, and the world becomes a happy place. And then this man, the student, he was continuing to say, well, in Russia in 19th century, there were people who were religious, who were traveled along the countryside chanting Jesus Christ. It was quite prominent. So the only problem I see that I don't think that will solve any basic human problems. So Prabhupada returned the question to him. So do you think that, say, Russia, you are saying, has gone away from that Christianity, religion, and they have taken to communism? Has it solved their problems? All their problems are solved? He said, no. So Prabhupada said, the history will repeat itself. There'll be wars again. None of the material methods, people become happy. This material world is problematic. So, only by Krishna consciousness, only by bringing God to the center, by serving God, just like watering the root, everything will be, every part and parcel of the tree is happy. So, by bringing God to the center, by serving God, everyone will become happy. The whole world becomes happy. So, I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to unmute yourself. भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जाए, शीला प्रभुपाद की जाए, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा।